Welcome back, my subscribers. Today we're going to talk about the super hyped and increasingly getting annoying Omega Moonswatches. So have you seen the craze? It's been a year since the craze of those really long swatch store lines, which, by the way, there aren't that many swatch stores in the country or around the world. So they made it really hard to be able to get a Moonswatch. And because they made it that hard and there weren't even enough to be sold, even if you were in those long lines, many who did buy them ended up reselling them for ridiculous prices. I remember seeing the Moon, almost all of them were hitting over $1,000. And again, these are great watches. They're very fun. But are they $1,000? That's the question a lot of people were asking, and many didn't ask it. They just paid up the premium, and someone who was in line for who knows how long was able to get it, and all you had to do was pay 3 to 4 times that price. We're in a different time now, and it is still difficult to get them. You can go to a swatch store, but you're not guaranteed to have all the models in stock. They might even be limiting them still of a couple of models per store, rotating them, because it continues not at the same level that it was when it was first introduced, but they continue to release new models with slight tinkering here and there, adding a gold second hand and whatnot, making different editions, but still having to go to the actual store to get them, not being available online unless you're buying it from a reseller. And I've got two today that I want to talk about. I've had them both for a year, and I want to share my thoughts on having them for a year. I am not one of those people who overpaid for them. I paid one of them was paid at retail. One of them was slightly above, but not like a ridiculous amount. The first one I got was the Sun. And although I would personally never pick a yellow watch, because this represents a more fun side of an everyday watch to just wear and enjoy, not worry about, how expensive it is and damaging it or knocking it against something. You know what I mean? This is not something you would baby compared to like wearing an actual steel Speedmaster. This is a fun take on that. So this is why, and I think in that sense, it was genius that they did so many versions, and I'm a little late to the game on making a video on this, but I really wanted to just use them and enjoy them, and then actually share my experience from an everyday watch enthusiast. So the first one I got for my birthday, my mom happened to be in San Francisco around my birthday time and was across the street from the Swatch store. There are no Swatch stores where I live. So she actually went 3 days in a row. The first two, they ran out. And they only had 2 models. And on the third day, this was the one that was available and she got it. There weren't many options to begin with, but because this is a fun watch and ordinarily I wouldn't think I would have worn a yellow watch, this is actually really fun to wear. This is the Sun. It has a sunburst dial style with red hands and red on the tachymeter with white. So overall, it's really nice. I remember the first thing I swapped out was the strap. And again, they are cool because they say Omega, but they're not really high quality and they feel weird and they make the watch bigger on the wrist than it should be, sticking out with those plastic pieces. So the first thing I did was switch it to a 2-piece NATO. And these are some of my favorite 2-piece NATOs. I'm not a fan of the through pass type, the single strap pass type. This is a Zulu Diver 2-piece, and it's the same quality. It has the quick release just like any leather strap would. Click on there, and it's nice. I think it balances the dial because it's so bright. This NATO is black with gold and red, so that red complements the hands, tones it down a little bit, makes it more everyday wearable, not so much in your face when it had the original all-white strap with the Velcro. And at the same time, because this is emulating what having a Speedmaster would be, it is a 42 millimeter, and I don't remember the lug to lug. I believe it's 46 or 47. It keeps true to that lug to lug because the strap is so flexible and nimble. It hugs the wrist, so I don't have to worry about having a strap that extends beyond lug to lug like the nylon strap with Velcro was doing, making it feel bigger than it was, and that's not really my style. I really like the watch. I think I like it more toned down than when it was original with its white strap. Using it over time, I don't have any dings on it, and I have used it a lot. I have used the chronograph feature as well, just to time things here and there. I've used it to work out, no issues. I haven't gone in the water with it. I just don't want to risk it. But overall, also no staining on the wrist from the color of the cases or the colors of the planet sticker or whatever, however they applied this. It's a quartz. It's plexi or plastic glass, but it's domed, so it gives you that vintage vibe. I think it's well executed. I like the style. After having a very bright one, I wanted something a little bit more stealth, and I've always liked the black PVD. I think it's a black PVD steel version of the Speedmaster. It's just all blacked out. I think it's called the Dark Side of the Moon, something like that. And I remember trying it on at the store and wanting to know what having that sort of thing feels like every day. I got Mercury. And I got Mercury over the Moon because the Moon had a lighter plastic color that I just didn't like. And I feel like this made it look a little bit more serious, a little bit more like a solid watch. So this is a darker gray tone, which matches the dial, which is matte, with a black ring on the minute markers with white. So it's just black and white. It's more monotone, more stealth. And this one I've enjoyed putting on different styles of leather. So I've had it on a green one. It ended up on this tan beige looking one. Let's see if we can focus on that. So overall, similar feeling. I've worn it a lot. I've used it to time things here and there. I haven't swam with it. I've just worked out with it when it had a different strap. I'll go back to the Sun one. There was one issue when I was changing the strap. Overall, just a very usable watch, I'd say. It's fun. Is it worth paying premium for it? No. If you can pay the retail, do that. If it's a little bit above retail because it's a model that's just really, really hard to find, I'd say go for it. But don't pay too much, to be honest. I mean, I'd say even now they are slightly overpriced at retail because it does feel so light. It's plastic. There's not a lot to it aside from the styling, which, I mean, that's where you're getting the premium pricing from. So, really fun watches. I think if I were to add another one, it would probably be Jupiter. And I really like that sand tone to it. But for now, I think 2 is enough. I know they kind of played that Pokemon style where you gotta catch them all. And I'll be honest, I went to the Swatch store, finally, and I did see them all laid out, and they look really fun in the box. But when you do the math, I don't know if it's worth it. But anyway, in terms of quality, I want to go back to this Sun version of it. So I know they call this bioceramic. We know it's plastic. If it's recycled or whatnot, that's part of the deal. But when you're looking at how resilient are these, like how well built are they, I'd say I haven't swam with it and done other things with them on purpose. I've only reserved it to working out, and even then it's like cycling. It's not really lifting weights or anything, because I don't want to damage them. I feel like they do have this feel and look to them that make them feel fragile. So I do baby these even more than my actual solid watches, I would say, and it's because of that. And one of the things that freaked me out was when I was changing straps. At first, I tried an integrated rubber strap that was made for it, of course, and that worked fine. And then you know how sometimes you're playing with the spring, trying to make it fit because it doesn't always go in right away. While I was doing that, one of these corners did get slightly chipped. And again, I'm using steel tools because they're steel or metal spring bars. So I got a slight chip in the lug itself because when I was pressing it in, I think the tool just took off in a different direction and it did chip off a little bit. It's not significant, so I don't see any cracks or anything. But that was disappointing that within maybe 2 weeks of having it, because I wasn't extra careful, I did chip off a little piece. And I'll show you some pictures of that or video so that you can see that. After that, I've been extra careful because even though plastic is really resilient, I think it's just the way and the shape that it has that makes it a little bit sensitive. Again, like I said, I don't think they're quite worth the retail. They are fun. I don't think they're worth the retail. I don't think it's worth paying a lot of premium over them. But if you really love the style, I mean, and you can't find it, you have to pay some sort of premium. So in that sense, I'm sorry. There's no good news there. Make sure you're buying them from reputable places. There are a lot of knockoffs because they're not hard to copy. But overall, it's cool to have on the wrist what it would feel like to have a steel version. So for those of you who have wanted a Speedmaster and haven't quite gotten to that point of saying, yes, I'm going to drop this much money on one, this is a cool way to test that out. And if you think it's not worth it for you, I mean, you keep enjoying these. And if it is, this is kind of your test drive of what a Speedmaster would feel like on the wrist. And I've tried some on at the stores. I'm a big fan of it. I just have never got into that point where I'm like willing to dish out so much money for it, with there being other watches on my wish list. But if you were to get one, I'd say, and you want it to be low key or just like closer to an actual steel version, it's either the Moon version or Mercury, in my opinion, because of the colors of the casing. Just makes it closer to looking like steel-ish. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video.